How to live a happy life. Welcome. If you do not know what the important ingredients are to be able to live your existence to its most happiest, then you must stay tuned, because I'm going to give you some solutions on how to be able to manifest the happiest version of your life. But before we jump in, don't forget to subscribe below and do say hi. It'd be fabulous for you to introduce yourself. Any questions, I'd love to answer. Otherwise, just press the little subscribe button below. At the end of today, I've got something wonderful to share with you, a little freebie. So do stay to the end and I will share that with you. Otherwise, grab paper and pen because you're going to need it today. All right, let's jump in. This show transforms your life from the inside out, because who doesn't want to live a fulfilling and happy life? Welcome to the Kirsty Show. How to live a happy life. Okay, step one. So most people's intentions are always real and sincere and authentic in that they want to live a happy life. And I reckon if we lined 100 people and asked people, would they like to live a happy life, the answer would be yes. So most of us are really, that's what we're trying to create anyway. The problem is that if you are not in alignment with what you really believe and what values you have, then it's very difficult to manifest that outcome. So most people do not have an understanding of what their core values are. And what a core value is or a value it's what's important to you. It's like what really you really need to have to be able to feel like completely satisfied and fulfilled. And so an example of that might be trust or love or connection or health or well-being. But everybody's values are slightly different, and when we meet somebody with the same values, that's when things feel very easy and it's all a lot of fun because we've basically vibrated someone in front of us that's really the same as us. And so like attracts like, and we like, all people like other people like themselves, but quite often we're not really aware of what these values really are. And this is why there's a massive problem when it does come to relationships. And quite often what happens is when values are out of alignment with each other, you'll start manifesting situations and scenarios till it just comes to a crescendo and you end up splitting up, if you're not aware and haven't sat down and worked out what each other's values are, that is. So these have a massive effect on relationships to your core values. And they're not the same as goals. So a goal and a value is a completely different thing. So a goal is like a one-off thing. So your goal is to lose some weight, or your goal is to qualify in something new, or your goal is to go to the Maldives, whatever it might be. That is a one-off kind of situation. Your values come in all day long in every area of your life. And so they are massively important, because whether it's work, whether it's home, whether it's relationships, whether it's finances, depending on what your values are, will depend on whether you are happy. Now, many people I speak to, especially clients, will come to me and say, I don't like my job, oh my goodness, I'm not happy, I'm unfulfilled, like I can't bear Sunday nights because I've got to worry about going to work on the Monday. And I'm like, well, why don't you change your job? And quite often they come back with fear. You don't change it because they've got a great paycheck at the end of the month, they know it inside out. The reason why they're uncomfortable is because that particular job isn't in alignment with their actual core values, but they keep going because of the fear of not having a paycheck. And so what we have to do is, in order to find fulfillment in all areas of our lives, we have to align our values up with those different areas, whether that's work, whether that's relationships. So values are massively important to happiness and so underrated. So do you know what your values are? Well, don't worry if you don't. We're going to do a little exercise, so grab your paper and pen. I have got a number of questions that I'm going to ask you. Very simple, because it's all about you, so you can't get it wrong. And the best way to do this is kind of tap into your intuition. So find a space where there's no kids screaming and your phone's turned off, your TV's turned down or off, hopefully, and create like a little space for you to do this in. It's not going to take ages, but it's really cool to be able to get and tap into that aspect of you that's truth rather than coming from your mind. So the best way to do that is find a space and grab paper and pen. And the reason for that is because I'm going to ask you a question, and then you can just literally put your pen to paper and just see what comes out. You might not know. The best thing is not to overthink this, okay? You can't get it wrong either. So the first question is, when in my life was I the most fulfilled and happy? So when in your life were you the most fulfilled and happy? And the second question that leads into that was, what were you actually doing? It's really important to identify what you were doing that was making you feel fulfilled. Was it that there was lots of growth in it? Was it that it was exciting, there was variation, there was adventure? Was it that there was safety? Was it that there was truth? It could be different for all of you, but just jot down what was so good about that experience that made you feel so fulfilled. Okay, moving on. What factors contribute to your happiness? So what sort of things make you feel happy? Just write a list. Doesn't matter what's on that list, just write a list. Okay, next one is, when were you the most happiest and productive and just fulfilled in the last 12 months? Okay, and why again? And if you're really struggling to find something to be fulfilled about, just think of a time when you felt that time stood still and you weren't kind of like, you know, because when time stands still, it's usually a sign that we're in something that we're really enjoying. You know, like, you know, if you're an artist and you love art, like hours can go and suddenly you look at the watch and you've been painting for 6 hours or something. Well, when has been a time when time stood still for you? Because that will be a sign that you actually enjoyed it. Okay, so write that down. Next question is, when were you the most fulfilled and proudest in your life, and why? So what did you do that made you proud? Have you achieved something? Have you gone out of your way to help someone? When were you most proud? Just jot that down. And why? Okay, when you look at your life, what in your life situation currently makes you feel unhappy? So what things are making you feel unhappy in your life right now? That'd be a massive guide and sign to whether you're out of alignment with your values. Okay, moving on. What makes you the proudest of your current life? So what makes you the proudest of your current life? Also, what would you do to become, how would you know that you've got to your most ideal, perfect version of yourself? Who would you be? What would you be doing? So what would you be doing to become the ideal, perfect version of yourself? Would you be going to the gym more often? Would you be not drinking so much? Would you be sharing your feelings and emotions more openly with no fear? What would you be doing? Okay. And then finally, what would life be like if you were to just let go of any fears around why you can't just change things in your life? So the things that, like, perhaps it's a job that you really don't like, or perhaps you're in a relationship that you don't really find fulfilling. How would life be if you were just to move through that and change everything? What would it look like? And I know I said that was the last one, but I've just got one more. Okay, and then finally, what would make you the most fulfilled, proud, happy and content in the next 12 months if you were to let go and change 3 things? And what would those 3 things be? Brilliant. Right, you've done so well. Now you might have a massive list now, and so the best way to be able to work out what your core values are is to number them out of 10. So 10 would be that they're really good, and 1 would be that they're really not that important to you. And then you can sort of assess and see which ones really are your core values. And then going on, it is now about whatever you're doing, whether relationships, work, that they are in alignment with those values. And if you do that, you will find total peace and happiness, because what you're doing is you're living from your truth. So go and have fun and enjoy that. Okay, on to exciting news. I have got a free course coming up in the new year, and it is all about dissolving stress and anxiety. So if you click below, you can just click the link and pop your name in there, and we'll send you details when that's about to go live. Also in the new year, lots of new exciting material coming out, so do stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, and please do press like, and of course say hello. Otherwise, have a fantastic day, Great speaking to you, and I'll catch up with you soon.